You said that
Go ahead.
you said that you recently discovered the $1.3 million in what you call longevity raises. How did you find out why didn't you know about that when you submitted the budget to council? And once you found out, what did you do about it?
I'm smiling because I expected that question. Just being candid about this. When I was elected, if you go back to your own newspaper and Google this, I think you'll find that I said early on that we're going to implement back then immediately a temporary freeze in salary increases until we can figure out the budget and also complete a new comprehensive compensation and classification study. And in a series of budget meetings regularly over time after that, my recollection is I confirmed that. We presented the budget on October 3rd. Sometime later, and I believe it was in November, I believe it was right before council passed on first reading its proposed change budget. I got a phone call from Councilman Tim Lee, who's by the way here. I hope it's okay I can say this. And Councilman Lee said, Mayor, he said, you represented the council months ago that you were freezing salaries. And Councilman Lee said, I see here a request from Denny Nestor, our auditor, to increase the salary of one of his employees. So what happened to your salary freeze? Okay, so that's how I learned that apparently we are continuing to, how we want to define this program we have, and I'm not sure we have an agreement on how to word it. We haven't really had time to talk about it, but one department had told me earlier this week that department, almost half the employees were getting 5% increases in 1st of January. So whatever they're called. But anyway, so I went to Steve Cox, and Steve went to our staff, and we met. And I was told that, well, yes, we are, well, first of all, that the mayor does not have authority to do that. That this is part of the Personnel Policy Manual Procedures, the PPM, and only City Council has that authority. I assumed up until then I had authority. I don't. So that was a revelation, and fair enough, I don't. I asked, well, what's the amount? Well, it's going to be 1.3 million for next year. Now, I apparently wrongly heard that as 1.3 million on civilian increases. Apparently, it's civilian and sworn. And so what we asked council, has it been a couple days ago? I can't remember that far back right now. I said, could we please have a temporary hold on civilian-only progression increases until we can complete this new compensation study? And here's why. What if we give people increases and we come back a few months from now and the study indicates that now they're over market? What are we going to do then? Is that fair to come back, say, by the way, write us a check back? So I know it's been characterized by some as intended to penalize city employees. That is not my interest. I said to you a minute ago that we must attract and retain great people. We're not going to get there without them. So it's kind of productive, just pragmatically, to do anything other than to motivate people and empower them. But anyway, so I found out from Councilman Lee that apparently these increases were continuing to happen. I asked staff to come in. They said, well, Mayor, you don't have the authority to stop that. That's council's authority. So I asked the city attorney to draft something. He did. And you know the rest of the story.
You said that you heard from Councilman Lee in November. One of the complaints from council was that you didn't bring this proposal forward to them until recently. So can you give me a more exact time in terms of when you found out in November?
Oh, I don't have the exact date. I don't. Maybe Tim does. I will tell you, and you're welcome to fact check this. Once I found out that these increases were continuing, I asked staff to brief President Hente, and I believe he did.
One last
so as to the exact date, I don't know exactly, but I can tell you that it was well after we presented the budget to council.
One last question on that topic, and that is that you told the Gazette, it was advertised pretty much everywhere, that you were going to enact a salary freeze, and yet your staff still did it. still included money for these raises or whatever we want to call them. Did anyone get in trouble for doing that?
With you or with me?
With you.
Oh. A couple comments, Daniel. Number one is, first of all, we compressed the budget cycle in order to brief council informally. I don't think that's been done in the past, has it, on a regular basis? So I asked staff to hustle up and accelerate its normal process in getting the budget together so that we could begin a dialogue informally with city council, so that we hopefully wouldn't come to a point where we differed on anything that would be meaningful. My sense is that created a tremendous amount of accelerated activity. And I just will say this to you, that going forward, we're going to have new senior leadership in the finance area here. We're posting for chief financial officer right now. We're also, Ann Crossy is retiring. Thank you, Ann, for so many years of great service to our city, and she will have a successor here beginning soon. And so we're going to have a high-level conversation about two things. Number one is, what was it about my directive that folks didn't understand? Honestly, I talk too fast. I don't always make myself clear. But we did talk many, many times about it. Now, folks, I said, I understand that on sworn, we're going to maintain these progressions, but on civilian, we're on a temporary hold. And I clearly understood that that was what was happening. Now, whether folks heard me, we haven't had time to even have that discussion. Now, going forward, I do not like surprises, and council doesn't deserve surprises. And so we got to figure it out. I felt I had, if you say it came at the last minute, I could have waited until council passed the budget on second reading yesterday. I thought I owed it to them to say, by the way, just in case Scott hasn't talked to the rest of you yet, contrary to what I said 5 months ago, this is what's happening and I want you to know it. So, could the timing be better? Sure. It wasn't intentional. You and I talked a lot, you and I, about transparency and how to get there, and this was intended to be part of that.